end of a long run of games in New Orleans, and for the second time, the Pelicans handle the Warriors tonight. It was ugly. Final score of 128-83. Welcome you inside Warriors wrap-up here on 95.7 The Game. John Dickinson with you for about the next half hour or so. Truncated edition here tonight on 95.7 The Game. A lot going on throughout Bay Area sports, as everybody knows, so we'll have a more limited edition of Warriors wrap-up for you tonight, and then overtime is going to be coming up with Kyle Madsen and Alan Stiles, as they'll be talking about everything going on with the football game that's going on south of the border tonight here between the 49ers and the Arizona Cardinals. So keep it locked here on 95.7 The Game as we talk some Dubs for the next half hour, but we got you covered for what's going on with the San Francisco 49ers as well. 888-957-9570. 888-957-9570. That is the phone number to give me a call or shoot me a text here for the next half hour. I want to talk some Warriors basketball. And sometimes when you go full-blown developmental game, tonight is what it looks like, unfortunately. And it was ugly. Let's be honest. Warriors down by 19 at the end of the first quarter with the starting lineup of Jordan Poole, Dante DiVincenzo, Kevon Looney, Jonathan Kuminga, and Anthony Lamb. It was a night where players that hadn't been getting much of an opportunity were able to get some significant run in this one, but it just goes to show, and I thought the first matchup a couple of weeks ago in New Orleans when the Warriors did this against the Pelicans essentially went through the motions, and the Warriors played pretty aggressively and with high energy, and the Warriors were able to hang around in that game. Tonight, different story. It was as if Willie Green had said to his Pelicans team, hey, we let these guys hang around, and the game was far too close a couple of weeks ago. Let's play with a little bit of purpose. Let's come out and really put it to these young, inexperienced players looking for opportunities at extended minutes and put a hurting on them early in the game and kind of break their will a little bit and put them down in a position to where it's never really a game. And that's exactly what the Pelicans were able to do in the first quarter. Ugly, ugly stuff. The Warriors had 5 assists in the first half on a night where they generate just 17 assists total in the game, and turnovers, as you might expect, 27 Warrior turnovers in this one, leading to 31 Pelicans points, and not hard to believe when you look at just position groups and lineups and a rotation of guys that just had not played together a whole heck of a lot. A couple of bright spots. I mean, Jordan Poole gets an opportunity to go back into the starting lineup, and when he's done that this season, he's averaged about 28 points per game. Tonight he goes for 26, but a pretty uneventful 26 for Jordan Poole. Jonathan Kuminga got his minutes. He had a chase down block on Zion Williamson early in the game. He had a follow-up dunk off an offensive rebound later in the game, knocked down a couple of threes. But all in all, I mean, you look at Jonathan Kuminga's night tonight as a starter, getting to play 40 minutes against legitimate NBA rotation players, and he was a minus 38. So it tells you that Jonathan Kuminga still has a very long way to go before he's going to be able to fit his game into the context of a rotation player on a championship caliber team. So the experience paramount, and I think above all, when the Warriors choose to do this, it's first and foremost, I think, about the veteran players. And I think more importantly than anything, because the Warriors, it's already pretty apparent in the first 18 games of this season now, even 17 before tonight's ball game, that the Warriors are going to need to be even more dependent than they would have originally anticipated on their older players as the season goes on. So I actually think in a weird way that means that early in the season the Warriors are going to have to pick their spots to give guys some rest and hope that they're healthy enough to ride out longer chunks with more minutes and take advantage of the schedule in an attempt to offset some of the hole that they've been able to dig. And you've seen the Warriors after the 3-7 start, at least leading up to tonight, which in all likelihood was going to be a loss from the opening tap. They have been able to slowly but surely get a little bit closer to on track here, winning 5 of the last 7 games coming into this one. So 888-957-9570. Bad spacing, bad shot selection. Again, mentioned the turnovers, but really it's more about minutes and reps and the opportunity to play. And again, sometimes when you do this, the Warriors had pretty good success in picking their spots with some of these games a year ago. And I think when you do it from a position of advantage, as the Warriors did a year ago, getting off to the great start, you can pick off some wins in some of these games. And the Warriors were able to do that last year. They won in Miami with essentially what was a similar type approach as the one that they put out there tonight. They were able to win in San Antonio last year. They were able to win in Detroit last year. I think there were maybe 9 times the Warriors did it last year, 8 or 9. They were 3-5 or 3-6 in those games. So the Warriors now with a second time against a team in the Pelicans that figures to be at a minimum a top 10 team in the Western Conference. It's all kind of jumbled up right now, but I think the Pelicans have a shot. Worst case scenario to be in the top 10, but best case scenario, I think that's a team that would tell you maybe they could be contending for a top 6 spot and definitely on the higher end of the 7 to 10 when it's all said and done. So rough matchup for the Pelicans, who did get Zion Williamson back, who have had Brandon Ingram back, who picked up C.J. McCollum, who have Jonas Valanciunas. I mean, that is a core of a team that was a playoff team a year ago, getting into that play-in tournament and winning a couple of games to ultimately take on the Suns as the 8 seed in the Western Conference first round, and they were a handful in that series, taking it all the way to 6 games before the Suns were eventually able to vanquish them. So 888-957-9570. Your thoughts on this one? I'll be honest with you. There isn't a whole lot of positive takeaways for me in this one. I also don't want to overdo it and really act like this makes the Warriors' younger players appear as if they're too much farther away than we already knew that they were. I think you can get carried away and go down the rabbit hole at that point, and things can tend to look maybe a little bit uglier when you do that. But it's just plain and simple. The Warriors were not competitive at any point, really, after they got down big in the early going. The 19 at the end of the fourth quarter was 35-11 before the Warriors scored the final 5 points of the first quarter to make it 35-16. They didn't win any quarter. The second quarter, probably the most competitive for the Warriors in this one, as they did chop what was that 24-point lead down to 14 at one point, down to 15 at one point, and then the Pelicans were able to push it right back up to 24 going into the break at halftime, and then coming out third quarter, they chased it up into the 30s and ultimately outscored the Warriors 31-18 in the fourth quarter, and it winds up being 128-83, the largest lead of the night for the Pelicans at 45, winds up being the final score in this one at 128 to 83. So you take your lumps tonight, and if you're the Warriors, you come back home, and look, the schedule's not going to get any easier for Golden State with the Clippers in at Chase Center on Wednesday, the Jazz on Friday, and then the Warriors headed back out on the road where they're going to take on the Timberwolves and the Mavs, a couple more teams that believe that they're in that at minimum top 8 to 10 conversation in the Western Conference. Of course, the Warriors know the Mavs from the Western Conference Finals and their upset of the Phoenix Suns going back to a year ago. So you look at it, and it's not going to get easier, and the Warriors are going to have to play better on the road, but tonight, not really an indicator of anything that you would put in the category of when this team is close to full strength and everyone is playing. So let's get to the Xfinity Mobile text line. Quick one here from the 415. JD, bench players are small and defensively challenged. They need a rim protector to clean up. Go out and sign Dwight Howard or Hassan Whiteside to the vacant 15th roster spot. I think it's independent of tonight. but that is something that the Warriors may have to look at. I mean, if James Wiseman is not going to be able to be a part of the rotation come February and March, then I do think they're going to have to look to potentially add from the outside. Are they looking to add another wing player? Are they looking to add another big man? I think they need more of a big man this year than they did really last year. I know they had Otto Porter, they had Bielitsa, they preferred to play small. They had some options, and while that was something that was just a over and over and over on repeat from a lot of the fans, I didn't necessarily think they needed to go get a big last year. And initially it was because they thought Wiseman was going to be coming back at some point, and then Wiseman never came back. But the Warriors were so good at playing small that I thought a big would probably be wasted at that point. They planned on James Wiseman being more a part of things than he's been able to be to this point, and Wiseman playing in the G League for the Warriors against the Utah club for the Santa Cruz Warriors as they're playing tonight and tomorrow. And so we'll see how he's able to fare as he heads down there to get minutes. I know a lot of people are asking why the heck was James Wiseman not going to be a part of this game today. And I know Steve Kerr addressed that before the game. They want him to be able to get an extended run with the G League squad, to get an extended run without going back and forth, to practice with them, get more of one-on-one attention that is available to a G League team that's playing a couple of games a week with practices mixed in, as opposed to getting with the big club at this point and going through all the travel and the lack of practice time and the attention that needs to be built for other players at this point. And so they want him to be able to just focus on going down and playing freely and working on his game and putting himself in a position to rejoin the big club, I think, a little bit more confidently than they had been to this particular point in time. All right, 888-957-9570. Warriors drubbed in New Orleans. 128-83 is the final. We'll come back and we will hear from the head coach of the Warriors, Steve Kerr, following this one. If you want to get in line and share your thoughts on this, what does it say about the Warriors' young players getting an opportunity to play, but sometimes when you go full-blown developmental game, especially against a good team, it can get out of hand ugly, and that's what we saw from the Warriors in this one tonight. Really immune to that for the most part last year, sans maybe the one game in Toronto where a bunch of the guys didn't make the trip north of the border, and that game got ugly at times. But the Warriors right now in a spot where you take the L, you get back home, and you get back to playing the rotation that you had been playing lately that had won you 5 of the last 7 games. So we'll pause here. We'll come back. We'll hear from Steve Kerr. We'll tie a bow on this one, and we'll get you set up for overtime with Madsen and Styles talking some 49er football. That's all straight ahead right here on 95.7 The Game.
Here's to Prilosec OTC. Without Prilosec, I wouldn't be able to enjoy all this yummy holiday food. Speaking of, whoever made that apple pie, delicious. I just take 1 pill each morning and 0 heartburn all day. So cheers to Prilosec OTC. Ooh, are those jalapeno poppers?
Prilosec OTC prevents excess acid that can cause heartburn, so you can enjoy the holidays. 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Hi there, I'm your host, Dog, filling in for the human who's normally here and bringing you the smells and sounds of the holidays, courtesy of Beggin' Dog Treats.
We wish you a beggin' Christmas. We wish you a beggin' Christmas. Dog rest ye merry Doberman, let beggin' you acquire. Deck the halls with strips of beggin'. Arf, 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 arf.
Remember, for bacon-loving dog excitement this holiday, it's beggin'!
'Twas almost the holidays, and all over the state, not a creature was stirring, except for, well, Nate. He was panicked, in need of a really good gift. Nate's a procrastinator, if you catch my drift. So off he dashed to the closest store, and there found holiday scratchers galore. Now Nate won't get a lump of coal, unless he burns the holiday casserole. Yet scratchers from the California Lottery are great, especially for Mr. Procrastinate. So when it's time to get your gift shopping out of the way, try scratchers. A little play can make your day. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to purchase player claim.
If you have certain chronic conditions, such as
heart disease,
asthma,
diabetes, and you're 19 years of age or older,
52,
36,
42, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I'm going to ask my doctor
about getting vaccinated
with Prevnar 20.
Do you have neuropathy? Are you experiencing numbness, tingling, and pain that just won't stop? Are you taking dangerous drugs that have serious side effects and never fix the pain? If so, please listen to this message. Neuropathy is a serious, progressive condition that only gets worse if not treated properly. Call SF Bay Wellness at 844-94-NERVE to get back to doing the things you want to do. There is no drug, exercise, or surgery that can heal nerves. Don't wait until your condition gets worse and stops you from living your life fully. SF Bay Wellness has a time-tested, proven track record of helping hundreds of patients to improve and reverse their neuropathy. If you're ready to regain your independence, contact SF Bay Wellness at 844-94-NERVE. Call now for your $99 neuropathy special and receive a personal treatment plan that is tailored to your needs. Call 844-94-NERVE. That's 844-94-NERVE and start to enjoy life again.
It's Joe Shasky from The Morning Roast. And if you're an independent restaurateur or are starting a brand new business, then you gotta know about my friends at Trimark. Trimark, making independent restaurateurs' dreams come true in Northern California for over 55 years. Whether you're designing your next restaurant or you need equipment and supplies, this is where Trimark comes in. They do it all. And what's most important to them is being a partner to their business customers. Visit TrimarkWest.com. That's TrimarkWest.com.
For 25 years, Buy Right Market in San Francisco has partnered with purveyors of deliciousness to bring you local food that adds a dash of unique to every meal and celebration. Hi friends, this is Jamie, Buy Right's head of product. And this season, whether you're planning an elaborate meal, watching the game, heading to a friend's, or cozying up for a night in, Buy Right will help you savor what matters most. Pre-order your holiday meals at buyrightmarket.com or stop by and discover something unique for yourself. Gather, share, and enjoy with Buy Right.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app.
Moody had it knocked away, back to Baldwin Jr. Pump fake, goes around Valanciunas down the lane, finger rolled it up and in, and he gets his first NBA basket. He'll remember that forever, even though it's in a blowout game. Patrick Baldwin Jr. is in the NBA officially and in the scorebook.
Now back to Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game.
16 minutes tonight for Patrick Baldwin Jr., that first NBA hoop, as called by Tim Roy, along with Jim Barnett. Baldwin Jr. finishing with 7 points in this one. We welcome you back inside here to Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. John Dickinson with you, 888-957-9570. One of the few bright spots for the Warriors in this one as they fall to the Pelicans 128-83 as the Warriors lose by 45 points, the greatest margin that they trailed by in the game comes at the final horn, as the Warriors didn't play Steph Curry or Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, or Andrew Wiggins. Kevon Looney did play, but only 5 minutes for Looney. He played the first 5 minutes of the game, and that was it, with the game turning into a blowout. So he continues his string of consecutive games played, but unnecessary to have him play much more after the game had gotten out of hand. And the game really got out of hand very quickly for the Warriors as they trailed 35-11 and 35-16 at the end of the first quarter. Trying to find a couple of bright spots here in this one. I mean, another night where Jordan Poole, as the lead dog, goes for 26. Jonathan Kuminga, 18 points. He did play 40 minutes. I know he's been really chomping at the bit to be able to play more minutes tonight. Kind of a mixed bag for Kuminga. I thought the 40 minutes were really an extension of what we've seen a lot. A couple of flash plays, the chase down block on Zion Williamson, the follow-up dunk on the offensive rebound. And other than that, it really was a couple of three-pointers he knocked down. A rough night for Kuminga. He ends up with 18 points, but 18 points on 20 shots. He took 12 three-pointers, which I think is a number that, yes, while he made 4 of them, is probably a little bit higher than you would want. And I'll say this for Kuminga. The one thing that he has not done as much of, seemingly this year, is putting his head down and trying to drive to the basket. Now, I know that's something that shows up on a scouting report probably more than it used to, but he seems a lot more content in trying to hit pull-up jumpers. He had McCollum on him at one point, faced him up, and then shot a jumper over the top of him rather than really trying to put his head down and drive him or get into the paint, put his body on him to get into the paint, and settling for three-pointers. I think you want to see Kuminga. His greatest offensive asset is being able to use his size and his body to get to the basket. He doesn't have a great handle, but so you don't want him out on the perimeter, putting it on the deck, trying to attack that way. But if he can get it in the short post, kind of like he had McCollum on that one play, that's where you want to see him almost try to bulldoze somebody as opposed to settling for the jumpers. And tonight he was, I thought, settling for a lot of jumpers in the midst of what typically is a couple of flash plays that were true to this one tonight. Let's get a call in here quickly. Tony in Alameda before we hear from Steve Kerr on Warriors Wrap-Up. Hey, Tony. Hey, Tony, you there? No, we lost Tony. 888-957-9570. Also want to let everybody know, coming up here in about 10 minutes on 95.7 The Game, we're going to hand it off to Kyle Madsen and Alan Stiles, as the 49ers, of course, playing tonight as well in the midst of a blowout victory down in Mexico against the Arizona Cardinals. So Kyle and Alan are going to have overtime coming up to discuss everything. A lot more happy to discuss that game than this one tonight. A lot more positives, lot more tangible takeaways from the Niner game with the regular players actually going and playing well. Let's go ahead and hear a couple of minutes of Steve Kerr before we get out of here and hand it off to Kyle and Alan as he addressed the media following what was the Warriors' largest defeat of the young NBA season.
The 28 turnovers tonight. What was the reason for a lot of those turnovers in your mind?
Trying too hard to create on our own, and instead of just trusting the simple pass. I thought the effort was there, but we didn't execute very well, and a lot of that is on me. I've got to continue to work with these guys and do a better job of teaching execution and getting our guys to understand the value of the ball. It's just something that. A big problem tonight. They scored 31 points off those turnovers, and it seemed like every time in the first half we would, start to build a little momentum, we'd have another turnover. So something we got to improve upon for sure.
Is this second unit still looking for its identity?
Well, tonight was I don't think was a great look at any unit. I think it was just a whole bunch of young guys getting a chance to play. When you talk about second unit, that unit is going to include a combination of, Wiggs or Loon or Draymond, Clay. So at no point tonight did we ever get a look at a unit. This was just a night for the young guys to get a chance to play. And, it was a tough night. They played really well. New Orleans played really well. And so it was a struggle for our group.
Are there any positives you can take away from this game in terms of individual performance?
Yeah, experience. We've got a whole bunch of guys who, you go down the list, they need reps. They need basketball experience. It's got a couple rookies, a couple second-year guys, a couple guys who haven't played a ton of basketball, and so every game that they get, every practice, it's all important. And what I found early in my playing career is it takes a couple of years to really get comfortable on an NBA floor, unless you're LeBron or someone like that. It definitely takes a couple of years. And so we have to be patient. And like I said, I have to do a better job of coaching them. We're going to keep working with them. And I have great faith that these guys are good players and they're going to continue to improve.
What about Patrick and Ryan back from the release? Have you seen some carryover from what they've been doing on Santa Cruz to now back to the club?
They just need reps. You can see it. The game is happening pretty quickly out there. And when the game's going fast, that tends to mean a lot of mistakes. And so the 28 turnovers was a sign of that. So the only remedy for that is experience. Our guys just need to play. They need reps. They need to play, and eventually they'll get there.
Kevon was a game time decision. A lot of those starting play about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
His return for the game. Is he okay?
Yeah, he's fine. We were going to play him short minutes tonight. He's been playing heavy minutes, and he wanted to play. We felt like we should give him a chance to play, and if the game called for it, to give him more minutes. But it never felt like we were in the game, and I didn't want to risk him getting hurt.
Kind of looking at the rest of this week, what's ahead for this team?
Fly home tomorrow, and we got a game right away Wednesday against the Clippers, so got to get ready for the next one.
All right, so Steve Kerr there at the back end explaining what the deal was with Kevon Looney and why he was out there at the beginning, played the 5 minutes, but then with the Warriors really out of the game very quickly. No sense in playing Looney as somebody the Warriors are really going to need moving forward here in an attempt to try and win as many games as they can beginning on Wednesday when they get back home. The good news for the Warriors, they are 7-1 on the Chase Center hardwood, and they've played much better defense inside Chase Center to go along with the offense that has been in a good place with the Warriors able to play that starting group together. All right, that's going to do it. I'm going to get out of here. Pelicans beat the Warriors 128-83. Coming up next, it's overtime as we'll be talking 49ers football. Kyle Madsen and Alan Stiles, so keep it right here. 49ers getting a big one in Mexico against the Arizona Cardinals. So those two are going to be talking about it. I'll be back tomorrow with Steiny in for Guru from noon to 3, and then back with Warriors Live from Chase Center at 6 o'clock on Wednesday for the Warriors and the Clippers. So keep it locked right here. Overtime coming up next right here on 95.7 The Game.
Here's to Prilosec OTC. Without Prilosec, I wouldn't be able to enjoy all this yummy holiday food. Speaking of whoever made that apple pie, delicious. I just take one pill each morning and zero heartburn all day. So cheers to Prilosec OTC. Ooh, are those jalapeno poppers?
Prilosec OTC prevents excess acid that can cause heartburn, so you can enjoy the holidays. One pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Hi there, I'm your host, Dog, filling in for the human who's normally here and bringing you the smells and sounds of the holidays, courtesy of Beggin' Dog Treats.
We wish you a begging Christmas. We wish you a begging Christmas. Dog rest ye merry Doberman, let begging you acquire. Deck the halls with strips of begging. Arf, 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 arf.
Remember, for bacon-loving dog excitement this holiday, it's beggin'!
'Twas almost the holidays, and all over the state, not a creature was stirring, except for, well, Nate. He was panicked, in need of a really good gift. Nate's a procrastinator, if you catch my drift. So off he dashed to the closest store, and there found holiday scratchers galore. Now Nate won't get a lump of coal, unless he burns the holiday casserole. Yes, scratchers from the California Lottery are great, especially for Mr. Procrastinate. So when it's time to get your gift shopping out of the way, try scratchers. A little play can make your day. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to purchase Play Your Claim.
If you have certain chronic conditions such as heart disease,
asthma,
diabetes, and you're 19 years of age or older,
52, 36,
42,
You may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I'm going to ask my doctor
about getting vaccinated
with Prevnar 20.
Do you have neuropathy? Are you experiencing numbness, tingling, and pain that just won't stop? Are you taking dangerous drugs that have serious side effects and never fix the pain? If so, please listen to this message. Neuropathy is a serious, progressive condition that only gets worse if not treated properly. Call SF Bay Wellness at 844-94-NERVE to get back to doing the things you want to do. There is no drug, exercise, or surgery that can heal nerves. Don't wait until your condition gets worse and stops you from living your life fully. SF Bay Wellness has a time-tested, proven track record of helping hundreds of patients to improve and reverse their neuropathy. If you're ready to regain your independence, contact SF Bay Wellness at 844-94-NERVE. Call now for your $99 neuropathy special and receive a personal treatment plan that is tailored to your needs. Call 844-94-NERVE. That's 844-94-NERVE and start to enjoy life again.
It's Joe Shasky from the Morning Roast. And if you're an independent restaurateur or are starting a brand new business, then you gotta know about my friends at Trimark. Trimark, making independent restaurateurs' dreams come true in Northern California for over 55 years. Whether you're designing your next restaurant or you need equipment and supplies, this is where Trimark comes in. They do it all. And what's most important to them is being a partner to their business customers. Visit TrimarkWest.com. That's TrimarkWest.com.
For 25 years, Buy Right Market in San Francisco has partnered with purveyors of deliciousness to bring you local food that adds a dash of unique to every meal and celebration. Hi friends, this is Jamie, Buy Right's head of product. And this season, whether you're planning an elaborate meal, watching the game, heading to a friend's, or cozying up for a night in, Buy Right will help you savor what matters most. Pre-order your holiday meals at buyrightmarket.com or stop by and discover something unique for yourself. Gather, share, and enjoy with Buy Right.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
The game is over, but we're just getting started.
So this is the thanks I get for working overtime.
Overtime! Welcome to Overtime with Kyle Madsen and Alan Stiles on 95.7 The Game.
2nd and 10. Blitz off the edge. Ayuk has got his second. Touchdown 49ers.
Well, the 49ers needed that one. They needed to blow a team out. They beat the Arizona Cardinals 38-10 down in Mexico City. They are back atop the NFC West, tied with the Seahawks. They own that tiebreaker. They're 6-4. And Alan, I feel like this is the first time we've gotten to do a game where for the last 20 minutes, 25 minutes, almost the entire second half, it was Ottoman time. Feet up, cruising.
Yeah.
And they needed to do that to a bad team.
They had to. And we've been on these past post games, and we've heard everybody, well, a win's a win, and this, that, and the third. We understand that. But there's something to be said about doing what everybody expects you to do and almost exceeding that. I don't think anybody thought Jimmy would walk away with 4 tutties. I don't think we saw that coming. We know, obviously, Colt McCoy's in, who, by the way, they exercised some demons for last season, losing to Colt McCoy. And we get both sides of it. I get, okay, every game is tough in the NFL, so you just got to win. But you got to be able to show that you can do some things like this. Yes. Because if you barely beat this team, yes, you're still feeling good about it, but even though the saying is a win's a win, and that's true, there's something to be said about just keeping your foot on the gas and showing everybody we are the superior team, and it's not close. Specifically in a season where nobody has really been able to do that for the NFC. They've been different waves. So if the Niners are going to start to come on now, and albeit with a backup QB, you just got to go out and you got to win games. And they finally, it feels like forever, and I know they've only done it against the Rams. I can't even say that anymore. I can't say that anymore. Right. They finally came out and blew a team out and did what they were supposed to do.
Right, this isn't the BCS. Style points don't necessarily count. But if we were going to take the 49ers and we were going to put them in the category of, hey, this is a top team in the NFC, they needed to blow somebody out.
Yes.
They needed to kick the hell out of somebody. And that's what they did. They fell behind 3-0. They go 7-3, 14-3. The route was on. There was never a point after George Kittle's first touchdown, the 39-yarder, where it felt like that game was going to get out of hand for the 49ers.
No.
It just never did. And that's what you can say. It's just the Cardinals, but that's a not very good Cardinals team. I can't believe they extended Cliff Kingsbury, their head coach, and Steve Keim, their GM. I cannot believe that happened before the year, but they did it. But anyways, that's just not a good team. And they didn't even have their starting quarterback. So that was exactly what I wanted to see. There was I have no complaints, no notes.
Yeah.
The first 2 drives they stalled out, it wasn't great, but then they come back and they rip off where are we at? They rip off 21 first downs. They were 6 of 11 on third down, 387 yards. They're almost 7 yards per play, which is elite. It was as good of a performance as we've seen from them since
the Panthers, maybe?
Back in 2019? Or no, this year.
This year's
Panthers game. Yeah, I think so. I mean, and maybe even before that.
I've been tough on Kyle Shanahan when it comes to
deserved it.
The genius title, things like this. It's less about, you have to win by this many points. It's more about, when are we going to see this team rolling on all cylinders?
Yes.
And that's what we saw today.
For 4 quarters.
The misdirection. McCaffrey to start. We talked about it while we were watching the game. The starter of McCaffrey and then Elijah Mitchell kind of being that closer. We haven't seen stuff like that. Typically, the lightning and the thunder combinations, it's every other drive or something like that. But Kyle Shanahan said, you know what? We're not doing it like that. Elijah Mitchell's going to come out of nowhere as the closer, the relief pitcher that nobody's going to see coming. The misdirections, the plays to Kittle. I didn't know what type of game Kittle was going to have. Sometimes when you are headlined so much, all right, well, they're definitely going to be able to, they're going to try to stop Kittle. The Cardinals are. The problem is, when you talk about the pick your poisons, the Cardinals wanted to, but they're thinking, well, what can we do? Right. You got Kittle doing his thing. You got Debo, who was, in a way, almost the receiver workhorse in this game. And then you got Ayuk coming when you think, it was a quiet game for Ayuk, but he had 2 touchdowns himself. So everybody was in this mix, and maybe we just wanted to see things a little too soon in terms of McCaffrey and get it. But you know what? It's a microwave society. I wanted to see it, Kyle, and we finally saw it today. If you're a Niners fan, you got to be excited. Everything was supposed to go their way. All the fans down in Mexico looked like a great time, and the Niners showed up. They didn't make it all for naught.
And I think this is what. So after the Chargers game, there was a lot of consternation about who got the touches, where were the touches, why wasn't there more for Debo, why wasn't there more for Kittle? Well, I think tonight was what people were kind of envisioning when you started breaking down where the touches were going to go in this offense. You mentioned Elijah Mitchell, the closer, 9 carries, 8 of those in the second half. Christian McCaffrey, 7 carries. Those were their 2 leaders in rushes. They had 28 carries on the night. Granted, a couple of those were Brock Purdy kneel downs. So really 26 carries to 29 pass attempts. And I think that's what people have been wanting from Kyle Shanahan, and Jimmy Garoppolo is like, dude, get ahead of a team and then put it on them. Don't get ahead by 4 and then go, okay, we're going to grind clock.
Right.
For 30 minutes, going to try and grind clock. Like, no, dude, blow them out.
Yeah.
You can score with a play action and a quick throw to George Kittle. Great, do it. Like, break their will. Kick someone's ass. And that's what to know they have that in their bag and to know that they are capable of doing that, for me, puts a new ceiling on what this offense can be. Am I ready to say they're going to go score 40 a game the rest of the year? No, obviously not. But the fact that Kyle Shanahan can see what's in front of him and go, hey, this can be distributed. It doesn't have to all be, okay, we're going to run the heck out of the ball this game. We're going to throw it this. It was, for the most part, 50-50 run pass split. It was well distributed. Granted, Christian McCaffrey had 14 touches, but it was 14 for him, 9 for Elijah Mitchell, 10 for Deebo Samuel. Like, this is what it's supposed to look like. And you mentioned Brandon Ayuk. Okay, had 6+ catches in 4 consecutive games. All right, well, 2 today, but 2 in the red zone, 2 touchdowns. And the Niners converted all their red zone trips. Like that, I'm typically like a negative type of fan where I'm looking at games and I'm going, okay, what went wrong? Like, okay, that's great, all that stuff went right. Like, I'm happy, but also like projecting forward, competition is going to be tougher than this Cardinals team, but this is a Cardinals team that played the 49ers tough. Colt McCoy beat them in their home stadium last year.
Right.
They played mistake-free football. They played, I think, like the perfect game, and their defense for the 3rd consecutive week pitched a second half shutout.
I just think that, when you look at this Niners team, and it's never that we didn't believe that they could do this. We just wanted to see it. Everybody said, talking about potential, talking about ceiling. Well, and when the Eagles were undefeated and the Vikings were rolling and people were saying, I'm still taking the Niners. It's not that I didn't even really agree with you, but I just felt like it wasn't even fair to say that. Can we at least, for a while, it felt like the Niners were better in theory than actual in practice. Like, well, they got all these guys. They have the high ceiling. They can do this. They can do that. But we didn't see it. And today we saw it, albeit against, a lesser Cardinals team. But they still did it, because if they didn't do it, I would be here saying you can't go out there and beat the Cardinals by 7 points. That's just, it can't happen. And I know it's a win is a win, but dang it, doesn't it feel a lot better to win like this than scratching and clawing against Colt McCoy and Trace McSquirrely? Okay, I call him McSquirrely because he's just a little
Penn
squirrel
State
out there.
legend. That's a Penn State legend.
McSorley. So it just feels better, man.
It does. And that's what, does style points count? No. A win is a win is a win. You'll take one however you can get one. But you'd also like to kick the hell out of a team. And the 49ers are their first 2 series, 7 plays, 19 yards, 1 first down, 2 punts. And they were behind 3-0. And it was tracking toward one of those classic Niners under Shanahan games where they, maybe they win, but it's 14-10 or 17-13. It's just a struggle. But they go punt, touchdown, field goal, half. Touchdown, punt, touchdown, punt, end of game.
Yeah.
Yes! That's what this team's capable of. And I don't care who the opponent is. Are they going to give up more points in against a better team? Yes. They're not going to give up 10 points to the Chiefs or the Bills or the Eagles. But there's no reason they can't put up 38 on anyone. Especially when Jimmy Garoppolo looks as good as he did.
And that's what I was going to say. We got to give credit where credit's due. Jimmy looked really good. 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. He just looks in control. And, a lot of people will say the whole game manager thing or the terminology that you use. I personally like the term of just point guard because that's how he looks, like a point guard out there. Distributing the football, making sure it gets to where it needs to go. And ultimately, that escape valve in Christian McCaffrey, that is really the game changer because how many times Jimmy wasn't necessarily his first read, or even if it was, he made it seem like it wasn't. There's McCaffrey just hanging out, and you know what? I'm gonna get at least 10 yards out of these plays that are just not even necessarily broken. It's just you have that guy, and you can't. And if you want to go say, all right, we're going to take away McCaffrey, well, then now you have to deal with Ayuk. Now you have to deal with Deebo, and that's what we've been talking about. There is not a team that can cover this football team across the board. You can't.
Nope.
You can't. You do not have enough good defensive players so you can go man on everybody and not get burned somewhere. You can't do it.
No. And that's, I think, the offense they built. Like, they did that. That was by design.
Right.
And I think the point you make on Christian McCaffrey is the point for this offense right now. It is the most important thing. All credit goes to Jimmy Garoppolo here. I don't want it to seem like I'm saying like, oh, he's a product of the, no. He has a viable check down option now. So what you just talked about, he doesn't have to try and force it into Deebo Samuel in traffic when the pocket breaks down. He doesn't have to take a bad sack. He gets to, get rid of it. And now these negative plays, these turnovers, these incompletions, these sacks that were putting them well behind the sticks, those are turning into 7, 8 yards, a first down. And that is such a game changer for an offense.
Right.
You're going from, what used to be 2nd and 18 is now a 1st and 10.
Yeah.
That is massive for an offense. And you see Garoppolo now looks more comfortable. For the second week in a row, he's made a really nice off-schedule play. That touchdown pass to George Kittle, where he steps up through the pocket on a 3rd and 3, had room to run, but pulled up at the line of scrimmage and floats it over the top, gets it to his playmaker, lets his playmaker make a play.
He just looks comfortable.
Yes.
He just looks very comfortable. And look, to be fair, again, this not a slight, but he should look comfortable. When you have all these options and you have Kyle Shanahan calling these plays, you should look comfortable. So it's a little bit of both. Jimmy is a really good QB specifically in this offense. I don't even know, and we've joked back and forth about, all right, well, how good has Jimmy been this year? It really doesn't matter in terms of how good Jimmy is. He a top 10 quarterback? None of that actually matters. What matters is that Jimmy works really well in this specific offense. Yeah. I don't know what it would look like with a different quarterback. We've seen it with lesser quarterbacks, and we all know the records with Jimmy and without Jimmy, but Jimmy has been in this system long enough. Now he has a new weapon, to your point. Now you don't have to force things when things get tight and things break down. And by the way, you still have that running game. So Jimmy's looking good. He should look good, and I have nothing negative to say. I mean, there really shouldn't be anything negative about this game specifically. There can't be.
I'll get the one out of the way.
All right.
Travarius Ward got a little bit cooked by DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah,
that's okay though. Everybody does.
Early, though.
Everybody does. It's fine.
And we'll never know. We'll never know if what would have happened. It didn't end up mattering because the game was out of the balance basically pretty early in the second half. So who knows what would have happened? But luckily for us, Kyle, we don't have to worry about that.
We sure don't. 888-957-9570 is the number. That's the phone line. That's the Xfinity mobile text line. Get in here. You feeling better about the 49ers now? Was that the kind of win? Was that a satisfying win? It was for me. We're, of course, on Twitch and YouTube, welcoming all comments there as well. Matt A. brings up, just says, we just broke the Cardinals. And if you told me that the Cardinals got rid of Cliff Kingsbury tomorrow, that wouldn't shock me. They got rid of Steve Keim, their GM, tomorrow. I don't think they're going to. I wouldn't bet on it. But if that happens, I wouldn't be like, whoa, that's a I mean, that was the kind of loss. Go watch the second George Kittle touchdown. Like, there were multiple Cardinals making business decisions on that play.
Yeah, and they talked about that on the broadcast, just saying, I think Troy Aikman said, yeah, this is loser football that they're playing.
Yes.
And when something like that is being said on national TV, and I'm somebody that I'm putting my hard-earned money into the Cardinals, it can't happen. It's embarrassing, even with the backup QB, because that's what we've been saying. I mean, Colt McCoy, he is no Kyler Murray, but we actually still don't really know what Kyler Murray is either. What we do know is that Colt McCoy has been in the NFL for a long time. Yes, he's limited, but he's beat the Niners before. So and if you're doing it based on Vegas, which you can do all that you want or don't care about it at all, but Vegas, the reason that these lines actually matter, even if you're not a gambler, is because Vegas is using all these things to come up with these lines. So if you get destroyed by not even close to the Vegas line, that also has something to do with the fact that you guys just weren't ready to play. What they decided to do with their training, right? The altitude. I don't know if it was the altitude. I don't know what it was, but they just didn't show up. They were not ready at all. At all.
So the 49ers opted to go to Colorado Springs.
Mm-hmm.
They trained at altitude for a week.
Right.
So they did their week of practice at 6,000 feet of elevation. and then went down to Mexico City. And now there's conflicting like science on what exactly you're supposed to do. But the Cardinals took the approach of practicing at home, flying to Mexico City, and letting it rip from there. I don't know how much any of that played. I think, frankly, you could have played this game on Venus, and the 49ers won by 4 touchdowns.
I think they said in the pregame that they tried to, even though they were at home, they tried to add different things to make it feel like they were in higher altitude. I don't know. I have those
with the masks.
I mean, I have one of those masks, by the way, the one that Beast Mode was putting out.
Yeah.
Whether it works or not, I have no clue. Clearly, it didn't work for the Cardinals if they did have it. So hopefully they weren't sponsored by them, because that was a terrible, terrible commercial for them. So shout out Beast Mode. But the Cardinals, it's there's two sides to this, Kyle, because no, the Cardinals weren't ready to play, but we've seen the Niners not take advantage. We've seen the Niners play teams that were begging to get spanked, and the Niners just said, I don't want to do it. I'd rather win 14-10.
Yeah.
And today they said, you're not ready to play? All right, we'll show you about that action. And that's what they did.
It looks like to me that, and maybe it's the Christian McCaffrey factor, maybe something clicked with the offense. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But it looks to me like Kyle Shanahan is trusting Jimmy Garoppolo more and more as the season goes on. And I think he realized that at some point, if the 49ers, as they are currently constructed, if they're going to go into Philly and maybe even go into Dallas or go to the Super Bowl and hang with the Chiefs or the Bills or the Ravens or the Bengals, like just pick, I don't know, pick a good team.
One of them.
They're going to need to throw the football. It is not viable to run it 40 times and blow out or not blow out, but beat an offense that's gonna score some points, no matter how good your defense is. And so I think what we're seeing is that evolution in their relationship where Shanahan says, okay, maybe Garoppolo's not perfect, maybe he's not exactly what I'm looking for, but dude, I gotta trust him to make some throws. And in the second half, I was certain when the 49ers went up. When the 49ers went up, where was it? 24-10. When Deebo Samuel had the rushing touchdown, I was like, pack it in.
Yeah.
Garoppolo's going to throw it twice the rest of this game, and they didn't. He threw another touchdown.
Yeah.
After that, threw 2 more touchdowns after that, and the fact that Shanahan in that spot went, hey, not only are we going to get the lead, we're going to extend this lead, and we're going to step on the neck of a division opponent in Mexico City on national TV. It was like, thank you, light bulb. And maybe it's an anomaly, but the fact they did it, and the fact that Shanahan's looking at Garoppolo now, and maybe Garoppolo makes the plays, maybe he doesn't. But I think there's been this sense of like, man, whether you like Jimmy or not, you got to throw the football in the modern NFL. And they did. And if they're going to be able to run and throw as effectively as they did tonight, I don't care who they're playing. For me, this win, I wasn't there yet. I wasn't in they're a Super Bowl contender. I'm there now. Because I've seen it. They showed me.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's not ceiling, it's not potential. It's like, oh, but imagine if no, it didn't have to imagine it. They did it.
Right. And we can say, well, remember, and you can put an asterisk next to it, whatever you want. The bottom line is that they did it. And I think that the way that they did it, a lot of, I wouldn't even say a lot, but you had the checkdowns early on in the game, and the Cardinals keep up with it. As soon as you think, all right, you know how Kyle Shanahan loves to ride the hot hand, next thing you know, the ball's to Kittle. Next thing you know, the ball's to Deebo. Then in the second half, completely different offense, you could say, because Elijah Mitchell,
yes,
you sign up for that. So not only did you get the win, if I'm the Saints or whoever has to play the Niners coming up, you're looking at that film and you're just flabbergasted. You're thinking, all right, well, in the first half they did this, the second half they did that. You're gonna have to try to, I guess, beat the Niners over the top. Or I guess obviously Colt McCoy is later in his career and a backup guy, but I'm looking around at this NFC now, and I feel more comfortable having these conversations that everybody wanted to have before they had this game. I feel more comfortable having those conversations now. I feel more comfortable saying, I do think that they can beat the Eagles. I feel more comfortable saying, well, we don't know what the heck the Vikings are. And Kirk Cousins, we know you love your ice and your chain on the plane, all that good stuff. But now all of a sudden the Vikings look like they're a mess. And you have the come up of the Cowboys, who I'm just never going to trust because they're the Cowboys. So you can look at the NFC now and say, I can understand. And it's not that I never didn't understand what people were saying with the Niners. I was just saying, you got to show it. You got to show me.
Exactly.
You got to show me. And today they did. And I know the Rams, but they always do it against the Rams. We know the Panthers as well. You did it in a situation where you were supposed to do it, but how many times have we seen them not come up short because they get the W, but they don't win like this? So I think it was nice for everybody and for them to put a stamp on a national televised game to say, yeah, if you're looking at the NFC right now, you have to include the Niners in those talks for probably top 2 teams now. Probably not worse than top 3.
Yeah, I don't. After tonight, 888-957-9570. I'm Kyle Madsen. He's Alan Stiles. This is Overtime on 95.7 The Game. Taking you up to 10 o'clock, breaking down this 38-10 49ers win over the Cardinals. This puts the 49ers in the 3 seed in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my least favorite phrase in sports. If the season ended today, Alan. If the season ended today. No, but this is kind of where they're at. They would host Dallas in a playoff game. They would host Dallas on Wild Card Weekend.
I mean, I'm taking the Niners all day.
Right. Okay, so that's I'm glad you said that, because when you talk about you have to put the 49ers up in the top of the NFC,
mm-hmm.
There's not a team that I think if they go to Minnesota, I think the Niners might be favored.
They would be without a doubt.
I think Philly's the only team that would be favored against them in a playoff game.
Yes. As of right now, probably only Philly. I mean, because the Vikings, they just got a 40 burger put on them. Right. So they're cooked now. The Cowboys, I don't think that they've done enough to be considered in the same level as the Niners. So I think the Eagles, and you know what? The Eagles haven't been playing well. They probably wouldn't even want to make the Eagles favorite, but they feel like they'd have to.
Yeah, I'm interested. I wonder how that would go. I think the Eagles would get that 3-point home field.
Right, a pick 'em.
Yeah, 3, maybe 2.5, something like that.
Yeah, and how we saw, the Eagles, not this past game, but the game before, just get gashed by the Commanders in terms of the run game.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be salivating if you're a Niners fan thinking, I mean, if they can't stop the Commanders and Taylor Heineke, what are they going to do against the Niners? Now, and then when you look at Niners defensively, these last 3 games, the teams that they've played haven't even scored in the second half. And I do like what Jalen Hurts is doing, but I like the Niners defense more. There's no disrespect to Jalen Hurts.
Philly's very good, but they don't look like a buzzsaw.
Right.
They don't look like, how do you beat that team?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they barely knocked off the Colts.
Right. They had to come from behind. Yeah. And the Colts and the Jeff Saturdays who are just starting to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, that goes to what we've been saying prior to today's game when talking about the Niners. Oh, well, we know the Eagles are better than that, but they didn't play like it this weekend. So the same way people are saying, well, we know the Niners can do this. We think that they can, but they hadn't done it until today,
right.
besides against the Rams.
Right.
So you go out, you say, all right, well, the Eagles, they squeaked out a win, didn't look great. So their stock's down. Mm-hmm. There's I guess maybe the Cowboys, because they beat the Vikings.
They just smashed the Vikings. The Cowboys are feeling good.
And it was Tony Pollard, I've got to be some type of career day. I mean, he went off. So how sustainable is that? In terms of quarterback play, as of right now, I'm taking Jimmy G over Dak.
That's crazy. And I don't know how much I disagree.
I
don't even know if I disagree.
I mean, this year specifically.
It's hard to play a lot better than Jimmy's playing right now.
Right. And this year specifically, Jimmy hasn't really he's had a couple no throws. And on top of that, it's Jimmy in this offense. We're not asking Jimmy to throw it all over the yard and make Mahomes-esque throws. That's not being asked of him. Dak is literally like a box of chocolates. You do not know what you're going to get with Dak Prescott game in and game out. You know what you're going to get with Jimmy. So I'd have to take Jimmy.
Has 6 touchdowns, no interceptions, completing over 70% of his passes. He's up around 240 yards a game. This is just in his last 3. He's just playing out of his mind right now.
Yeah.
I want to get to something you mentioned earlier about game planning for the 49ers offense, but let's get these phone calls started. Sam is in West Oakland. Sam, the 49ers beat the Cardinals 38-10. How are you feeling about San Francisco right now?
Man, I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling great. I just got a couple things to say. I just feel like Jimmy G is finally, he's playing like he's not a part of the group project. He's actually giving input in the group project now to me as a quarterback, where he doesn't need everything around him to go perfect for him to look perfect. Mm-hmm. He's actually doing things that is showing me a different type of quarterback. Like he's playing with the leash off of him kind of now. And I would think my only thing is I wish we would have used Elijah a little bit more to kind of spell McCaffrey. But even though, like, Elijah he was getting some good yards, like, no matter what, just like McCaffrey was. But I thought they would use that 1-2 punch more. But with that, we saw a more loose Jimmy, so I guess I can't really complain about, like, Jimmy playing more loose. And I think we're seeing a new head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, DeMeco Ryans, coming soon. I can't stand Cliff. So, yeah, man. Have a good night, y'all.
Awesome. Thanks for the call, Sam. 888-957-9570 if you want to jump in here. That's the phone line. That's Xfinity Mobile text line. And, of course, we're on YouTube and Twitch. We'll take your comments there as well. So Sam brought up a point that gets to what I wanted to talk about. So he was talking about he wanted to see a little more Elijah Mitchell. Mm-hmm. But that dovetails nicely. You brought up the point about the Niners kind of having two different offensive game plans.
Yeah.
In the first half, it was so they ran it threw it 21 times against 7 runs in the first half. In the second half, they ran it 7 times on 8 plays to open the half.
Right.
It was and you saw Elijah Mitchell had 1 carry in the first half. He had 8 in the second half. And I think the reason that snap disparity, that touch disparity was there. McCaffrey had 25 snaps in the first half to 3 for Elijah Mitchell. After Mitchell actually out-touched McCaffrey last week.
Right.
So I think that there was a distinct plan from Kyle Shanahan that said the 49ers are going to throw all over the Cardinals in the first half. And that's going to mean a lot of Christian McCaffrey. And then in the second half, they're going to run it more. Okay, we're going to see more Elijah Mitchell. And I think that's just kind of how it's going to go. I don't think there's a pattern. I think there's going to be rhyme and reason to it. But I don't think, like we said, it was Christian McCaffrey the starter, Elijah Mitchell the closer. I don't think that's always necessarily going to be the case.
No.
If they think they can run on a team and they think like, hey, we can get downhill, we can rip off 5-6 yards of carry, it's going to be heavy Elijah Mitchell first half. Mm-hmm. So that's ideal. That's what Kyle Shanahan's been building. That's what he's been wanting. This positionless football, right? Mm-hmm. This Kyle Juszczyk is a fullback, but also a tight end.
Right.
And it's Christian McCaffrey's a running back, but he's also a wide receiver. Deebo Samuel, wide receiver, also a running back. George Kittle, do a little bit of everything. Like, this is what he's been building. It's supposed to be diverse. It's supposed to be unpredictable. It's supposed to be something that we're going into a game going, yeah, the Cardinals, they can't really defend the run, but, if they're going to stack up and do that, the Niners are going to beat them through the air. And they've not been able to do that with Jimmy Garoppolo to this point. Mm-hmm. But with how he's played over the last 3-4 weeks, like, teams can't just stack the box.
They can't. All of the throws, Jimmy's throws are not just on time and on target. Jimmy's always been good when he's rolling at leading the receiver, getting those yards after catch. And that's what he's doing right now. And you're sitting there thinking, all right, we have to worry about this. And they said on the broadcast how they were stacking the box, the Cardinals were. Okay, well, then we're just going to throw it because we have it's interesting because Deebo is considered elite. I think Ayuk is on the way up, but sometimes we don't see that much of Ayuk. So he's an interesting one. But they're all, and then you have Kittle, who's elite as well. So even if you're saying Ayuk's not there yet, you still have 2 elite receiver tight ends in Kittle and Deebo. And if you're going to try to get us there, we still got McCaffrey too. So all of this just plays right into what Kyle Shanahan wants to do. I loved personally the fact that McCaffrey did chill a little bit in the second half and Elijah Mitchell did get going. We thought about, okay, well, how are they going to spell each other? Obviously the game and the score helped that as well. But they were just rolling on all cylinders, man. Just nothing. The Cardinals had no answer. 0. And you know what? I know a little later in the show we're going to talk about who the Niners have coming up next. The Saints, better defense, but the Saints probably won't have an answer either. I don't know if they're still going with the red rifle. I don't know what they're doing. But I don't want expectations to be too high.
No, but put them high. They're supposed to be high.
I'm like, the Niners should do something like this again.
Yes, and you should. We as a collective should be putting the expectations up here.
Yeah.
The expectation is not, 22 points against the Chargers. Like, yeah, no, good. Let the defense run. Like, that's cool. Fine. Win a game like that here and there. Especially coming back from 10 points down. Like, good, yeah. But this should be the expectation. It should be a disappointment when they score 20 points. It shouldn't be like, oh, well, yeah, but there are a couple good plays. And they're like, no, man, this is a team that pushed their chips in.
Right.
They brought Jimmy Garoppolo back because they wanted to contend in case Trey Lance was unavailable. They made this trade for Christian McCaffrey not to just see if they can sneak into the playoffs. No, that's a Super Bowl move. This is a Super Bowl defense. They haven't allowed a point in the second half since week 7. Like, this is a Super Bowl team. At least they should be.
Right.
That should be the expectation.
Remember when Trey Lance went down? All right, well, Jimmy Garoppolo, all right,
gives him a better chance.
Yeah, time to go.
Which is fine. But that means the expectation is going to be here. Beating a bad Cardinals team 38-10 is the expectation. That's what good teams do. This was good team behavior by the 49ers. Yes. And you need to see that. And I think a big part of it, to bring it back to Garoppolo, when you talk about how good he's been, is he going to become elite in the vein of Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes? No, nobody. There's so few people on the planet who will ever be that good, much less in the league right now. So that's not the expectation. But what was always the frustration with Garoppolo? It was the 3 to 5, like, what was that?
Yeah.
Plays per game.
What'd you see there? What'd you see there?
What did he have a couple of misfires tonight? Sure, every quarterback does. Every quarterback does. But it's avoiding the throw into traffic that bounces off 3 defenders. The inexplicable lollipop out route that gets picked. The bad sack where it's like, throw the dang ball away. Yeah. He's eliminating these negative, bad, game-losing plays. And when he can then hit Debo in stride and just do the things he's good at, it amplifies that skill set that much more. And that's why I think that what they did tonight is sustainable. Because there's nothing when I was watching the game, there was nothing that you pull out of the box score. You mentioned Tony Pollard for the Cowboys.
Right.
You're pulling Tony Pollard's 9 catches for 106 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, okay, right. Really good game, but that's not, come on. There's nothing in this box score that says like, okay, well, that's not happening again.
Right.
What happened tonight that isn't going to, that the 49ers can't, I mean, it's not going to happen every night, but that they can't do consistently?
Well, almost going back to, I believe it was against the Rams when McCaffrey finally had the full playbook and he went full Booby Miles. He threw, he ran, and he caught one, right?
And he can pass.
That we thought was a lot of fun, right? But we also didn't think that was sustainable. You can't, because McCaffrey, he has had injury issues. You can't do that. That was cool. That was awesome. But that's not why you have Christian McCaffrey. Is you have him so you can play like that sometimes, but you can't do that every game. What we saw tonight is something that you can do every game because you got Kittle involved, you got Elijah Mitchell involved, you got Ayuk involved, all Debo, all in different ways. So you're just scratching your head if you're a defensive coordinator, thinking, all right, well, let me close my eyes and pick who to stop. I guess we'll stop McCaffrey. Oh, wait, there goes Debo running up the sidelines. Okay, we'll got to stop Debo. Oh, wait, well, there goes Kittle. We got to catch him too. So that's why I agree that it's sustainable. What we've seen in the past, when we've seen some of these one-offs like the Christian McCaffrey full-on every type of touchdown day, no. But this, you can do this every game. You can.
Yeah. Want to get to a couple of the comments in the YouTube chat right now. Andre Smith, Jimmy played his best game of the season. I agree. His best game in a while. Planet Serpo, I'm not a Jimmy fan, but he's been pretty darn good this year. He wants to get paid. he's going to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's by the 49ers or somebody else, we can talk about that another time. And then just to Anthony Garcia said Kyle's right. He said some other stuff, but I blacked out when he said Kyle's right because that's new for me. I'm really, really happy with that. No, he said 49ers played a disciplined and repeatable game with their script and adjustments. I'm right there. No bad penalties, no bad turnovers. It didn't stall out in the red zone. Just like, man, it's weird not coming on here and complaining about something.
Mm-hmm.
I got to be honest. It's kind of refreshing.
Yeah. Well, and because they did do this today, like we said, should you have those expectations? Yes. But if they do have a tougher game against the Saints, because you got to think the Saints are better than the Cardinals at this point, then yeah, maybe we won't be as upset as we typically are because we're thinking, yeah, it's the NFL, it's tough, and look what they did last week.
Right.
But when every week it's they barely squeak by, that's when you're thinking, I don't know, guys, are we just assuming they have a ceiling? Because I haven't seen it yet. Today we saw it.
Right. And I think that's a perfect point. Like the Chargers game was a perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
If they had beat the Chargers 22-16, but what did that put them to 5-4? So that's 8 games, and they were 6-2, and had smashed the Bears in week 1, and they blew out the Broncos, and then they had their little hiccup against the Falcons, and then they lose to the Chiefs. But then it's like, okay, well, you know what? Didn't have their best game, but it looked prior to tonight like their best game was 22-6, unless they're playing the Rams. 22-16, just skirting by, like getting just enough. Everything just looked so difficult for them on offense. It looked like every game, except for their games against the Rams, every game was just uphill offensively. And today it was downhill.
Yeah.
In the good sense.
Yeah.
They were coasting. It looked easy. It's like that's how offense is supposed to look. And I'm not taking this. I'm choosing not to take it. I could be wrong, but Anthony Gracia on the chat said I was right, so I'm leaning on that for now. I'm choosing to look at this like, okay, a light bulb went off. A switch flipped, the pieces fell together, and here's the 49ers offense now. Again, 38 points a game? No, that's ridiculous. But are they a cohesive, functioning offense moving forward? Yes. That's what I'm choosing to believe.
Yeah.
And that it wasn't just the Cardinals.
And even when we look at Jimmy in terms of the throws he's been making, to your point, there haven't even been any close calls, I feel like, in terms of throws that could have been picked off. They're not even any close calls. He's not even heading in that direction right now.
So there was a hospital ball to Debo tonight that he just threw high.
That's right.
But it wasn't like in traffic. It was just he threw it a little bit high and left his guy hanging. And again, these throws happen. Like every quarterback, watch Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, they miss throws. So I'm not harping on it. And the only other one was the 3rd and 13 throw to Ayuk, where Ayuk fell down.
Right.
That's not on the court. He was very good. I legitimately have no complaints from the offense tonight. A little bit of a slow start, but when you're putting up 38, who cares?
Yeah, and I do like what they've been doing with Ayuk because they have so many ways of getting down the field. You don't necessarily think of Ayuk as a red zone guy. You're right. He's not the 6'7" Gronk type guy. Oh, this is who we're targeting in the red zone. But because they have so many options to get to the red zone, now by the time they get down there, defenses aren't necessarily thinking of Ayuk top of mind, and then that he's sneaking in, getting these tutties because, all right, we got to look. McCaffrey, Debo, oh, shoot, they got Ayuk too.
All right, let's recap this game. We're going to keep taking your calls, 888-957-9570. OG in Seattle, I see you. We'll hit you on the other side. If you want to get in here, line up now. Phone lines are open. Get in on YouTube. Get in on Twitch. Get in on the Xfinity mobile text line, 888-957-9570. Call, text. We're here until 10. I'm Kyle Madsen. He's Alan Stiles. This is Overtime. Talking Niners on 95.7 The Game.
With Black Friday savings at the Home Depot, you can get top brand laundry sets with the latest tech to tackle any mess you might face this holiday. Like automatic fabric and load size detection for spills of any size, from cookies and milk on your favorite holiday sweater to the toddler of the house discovering just how fun cranberry sauce can be. Make more magic this holiday season. Let your new appliances handle the mess. Shop Black Friday savings and get up to 30% off, plus instantly save up to $750 on select LG laundry sets at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Offer valid November 2nd through 30th. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
Meet Joe A,
Hi.
Joe B,
Hello.
and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect, support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Hey, Bay Area, ready to cheer on the Mexican national team alongside Estrella Jalisco beer? Because other teams might have an Estrella on their crest, but none of them have the heart like ours behind it. Win or lose, Estrella Jalisco and Mexican starting forward Alex Vega are bringing fans together to cheer on our team. Let's go for the Estrella on our crest with an Estrella Jalisco beer in our hands. Estrella Jalisco. Vive tu Selección. Vive tu Estrella. Enjoy responsibly. Estrella Jalisco, St. Louis, Missouri.
Impact your true calling and make connections that count at Evergreen Valley College. EVC was named a 2021 Best College for an Associate's degree with the 4th most diverse faculty in the country. And with EVC alum earning more than any other California community college according to Newsweek and PayScale, you can take classes and transfer or fast-track your career. Now is your time. Impact your future today. Visit evc.edu for more information and enroll for classes at evc.edu. That's evc.edu.
Black Friday is starting early at Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet, and there is no better place to shop for all your power tools. Grab free batteries with tons of Makita products and many more of the year's hottest deals, November 21st through the 28th. Save $100 on Makita 18-volt rear handle circular saw kit and take home 2 extra batteries on us. Again, our Black Friday sale will be November 21st through the 28th. Check us out at 2897 Monterey Highway or online at fastenersinc.net.
The Prophetic Matrix. Unlock the secret code to your destiny. A new revolutionary book by Michael John Toste. The first ebook to make history by being filmed in space. Discover your unlimited future. Get The Prophetic Matrix now on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. The crazy thing is, this never ends. Even when you die, your family's now going to be stuck with this burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-543-3399. That's 800-543-3399. 800-543-3399.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com/sports, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com/sports. That's getrefunds.com/sports.
When you can't calm that annoying cough, there's Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub's medicated vapors provide powerful cough relief, so you can breathe easier. Vicks VapoRub, fast-acting cough relief.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM at HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Third down and 3. Garoppolo will float it. He's got Kittle. And Kittle is gone for the touchdown.
Now, back to Overtime with Kyle Madsen and Alan Stiles on 95.7 The Game.
49ers 38. Arizona Cardinals 10. So I was basking in the glow of being right last segment, and now I have to, it's over, because I was wrong on a thing. Just a quick cleanup correction from last segment. From the 510, they're absolutely right on the Xfinity mobile text line. If the playoffs started today, the 49ers would play the New York Football Giants, who is the 6th seed, not the Dallas Cowboys.
Would feel even more confident against the Giants.
I would as well.
I am looking forward to seeing what they do. I haven't watched that much Giants football, to be completely honest with you, so Thanksgiving will be fun.
They're the weirdest team in the league.
Yeah.
I have no idea how they're 7-3.
I don't either. But I'm excited to see if they are the real deal or if either one of them are fraudulent. We typically feel like the Cowboys are always fraudulent, but maybe this isn't the year.
Yeah, they're loaded, and their defense is really good.
Right.
Which is where I think where the kind of big difference is from years past. So, Dallas is really good, no doubt. And that's the thing is Tampa Bay could easily turn a corner and be dangerous. Minnesota, and they're still 8-2. They went into Buffalo and beat the Bills. That's impressive regardless of how it happened. Did they get thumped by the Cowboys last week at home? Sure, but and Dallas is good, Philly's good. But my thing is the 49ers are now in that conversation.
Yes.
I'm not saying they are the best team in the NFC, but I was wary of putting them up there because even Minnesota's still there 8-2, and Dallas has been really good. I need to see it with the Niners. I've seen it with those other teams. Well, we saw it tonight. 38-10. They hit on all cylinders offensively, and for the first time, you mentioned the Panthers game, and I think that's probably right. This is the first time they put together like a complete game. Or is it excellent defensive performance, best offensive performance of the year, and they're doing it at the right time, and that's the biggest thing for me.
Right.
Is you have to be playing your best football going into December, and the 49ers played their best football on Monday.
And, this is what everybody had said. Well, we were 3-5 last year, and we've always said, look, that's not typically the recipe, but it seems to be working out for the Niners. You still don't have time for any more mulligans, though. So that's the thing about it. You start the season out 3-5 or whatever. 5 losses is not the problem. The problem is you still have all these other games left to play, and you can't afford to have any off days. And maybe they're just a team, the Niners are just a team that they need their backs against the wall. I don't know, because the way that they played tonight and the way they've started to roll a little bit here, even though the Chargers game shouldn't have been that close, you found a way to get the W. This game next week against the Saints, that's another opportunity to beat a team that you are just unequivocally better than. Yes. There's just no question. So, assuming they get through that, but not to assume anything nowadays, then you come up and you got the Dolphins, and that one, I'm ready to grab my popcorn for that one. That is going to be fun.
Yes.
That is going to be a lot of fun, that game. But, you can't overlook the Saints because that's what happens in this game. I just feel that the Niners, to your point about flipping a switch, or maybe this is, the light bulb, everybody looked comfortable today. And yes, that's going to happen against teams that aren't as good, but we've seen them not look that good against teams that are also bad.
Yes. This was a different version of the 49ers tonight. That's my biggest takeaway. OG is in Seattle. Let's get him in here. 888-957-9570 if you want to join the conversation. OG wants to praise Jimmy Garoppolo. Let it fly, OG.
Oh, this was such a great game, guys. Good to speak with you. Very, very exciting. Jimmy, he was fantastic today, and I think all year he's been very, very good. And today he was just outstanding. He was the star. So I loved how Jimmy played, but also I love the 49ers offensive identity. When they get into those 12 personnel, 22 personnel, and start motioning around those tight ends, that play action is absolutely killer. We saw that at the end of the game. They put the game away with a play action, and Arizona had no chance. No chance. And if Kyle can keep this identity, and kind of stay away from too much spread offense, the Niners are going to be unbeatable. I don't care whether it's the Chiefs or the Bills. With our defense, the sky's the limit. I'm very excited. Thanks a lot.
Yep, no doubt. Thanks, OG. The 510, and I think this speaks a little bit to OG's point about the 49ers kind of hitting this stride where they I don't want to say found their offensive identity tonight. And let's put a pin in that because I want to ask you something about it. But the 510 on the Xfinity Mobile text line says they hit 3 switch. They got Jimmy G back. They got Elijah Mitchell back from his week 1 knee injury, and they traded for Christian McCaffrey. And I would push back. It's not just getting Jimmy Garoppolo. It's getting this specific version of Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right.
That's making off-schedule plays. That is hitting checkdowns. That's not throwing the ball into traffic. That's not taking a bad sack. This is I hesitate to say the best version of Jimmy Garoppolo that we've seen, but I think it's the one that is most conducive to this 49ers team making a real run. Because the biggest thing he has to do is play mistake-free.
Right.
And that's what he's been doing.
Yeah, and again, though, and I know it is very exciting evening if you are a Niners fan, but I will say that we've seen this Jimmy before when everything is going well. I don't want to say he's a front runner, but when everything is even though some of the throws, like you said, are off schedule, I'm in control. It's Colt McCoy, even though they lost Colt McCoy last year.
They sure did.
I'm in control. We're just so much better than this team. We're rolling, right? That's not going to be the case every game. So I'd like to see this Jimmy when things do get broken up a little bit. Somebody on the YouTube chat made a good point.
Shout out the YouTube chat.
Steve Cass. And he says, the Chargers game shouldn't have been close. Did you see how they played the Chiefs? They almost won. Chargers are not an easy out. Now, I will say, didn't they get Mike Williams back?
Yeah.
So they didn't have anybody.
Although he got hurt again.
Chargers wide receivers, I mean,
Brutal.
God bless you. But
unbelievable.
The thing about the Chargers, right? I mean, they had one play. It was literally just, we're going to throw it to Austin Eckler every single time.
Cross our fingers, yeah.
So that's why, to me, I guess I hear what you're saying, Steve, in terms of, all right, the Chargers, they're not the Cardinals, but at the same time, I still don't think it should have been that close. So you feel much better about the Niners and what their quote-unquote ceiling is because of what they did today. We still got to see more, though. And maybe I'm being a little bit greedy, but you should be. When you got Debo, McCaffrey, George Kittle, when you have all these guys, you should be greedy.
But that's just it. This is just checking boxes. They needed to beat the Cardinals first and foremost and get back to the top of the NFC West, which is where they're at now.
Right.
Great. Beating the heck out of the Cardinals was another box to check. Kick the crap out of a bad team. Kick the crap out of a division team.
Right.
And that's the other thing the Niners have done this year. They've handled business in their division, which is a big deal when it comes to tiebreakers. Handling business in the division. Great, check that box. Now come home on a short week and beat the Saints. That'll be another box to check. And then that's just what this is. It's not declaring that the 49ers are going to go to the Super Bowl right now.
Right.
But I'm now ready to go, okay, good. They've checked this box of they can reach their potential offensively. I'm ready to say, in a game, I'd feel good about them hanging with any other team in the NFC. They're there. They're in that conversation, especially with as wide open as this conference is. So it's not crowning them because you're right. We could easily, it's been 3 games of Jimmy Garoppolo where it's been like, that's good-ass Jimmy. Maybe there's a regression. He throws 3 picks next game. And we're right back to, oh, man, can this guy win? Because I think that's how it's going to go. I think that's kind of going to be the Jekyll and Hyde a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's like, how long can they prolong that? And the bigger deal is, can they get this version of Jimmy long enough to get them to the playoffs? And then can they get him in the playoffs?
Right.
Because that's the missing piece. But we're not there yet. They took care of business tonight. And it's hard not to feel, I'm struggling a little bit. Help me out. I need you to help me out. You can help me out at 888-957-9570 if you want. But Alan, I need you to help me out right now. I feel great about this one. I have no I'm going to go to bed happy. This is the best I've felt the 49ers have looked all year.
Right.
Because even the Panthers game, my big takeaway was Baker Mayfield stinks.
Yeah.
That was my big take from that game. The Niners kicked the crap out of him, but that was something. But this is the first game where I've looked and I've gone, man, that was a really good team that we just watched.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, somebody on the text line, I lost the text. The 650 said, slow down. Dallas has played better teams in San Francisco. It's a very good point. The Eagles are still there. The Vikings are, call them frauds or whatever. They're still 8-2. Like, they've taken care of business. Mm-hmm. Just haven't. So I'm trying to pump the brakes, but it's also really hard not to be really freaking excited. Not just looking at the score, but looking how this game went.
Right.
It was the perfect game for them. And is Brandon Ayuk only going to catch 2 balls a game? No, because there's only so many touches to go around. But it wasn't. It's hard to draw up like a better game than this. And like I said earlier, it's all sustainable.
It is sustainable. I do think we have to be fair. I do think we have to be fair, and the Cardinals do look like a dumpster fire right now. They do.
They are.
They are. So I feel like we have to say that. You still have to. All you can do is beat who's in front of you. I will say that in terms of what you said, checking the boxes, that is a box. Beat a team the way they should be beaten. Now, next week, when you face the Saints, who are better than the Cardinals, and it doesn't really matter who the quarterback's going to be. I know Jameis said it hurts my soul. I really want to be out there. So that'll be another thing. And maybe you'll feel a little bit better, even if it's not 38-10 or whatever the case is.
Sure.
They control the game the whole time, and they don't play with their food. The Niners, they just love to play with their food. If they stop doing that, even if the scoreboard doesn't reflect what they did tonight in Mexico, you'll still continue to feel better. There's still some boxes they need to check, but they did all that they could do in this game, and they did what they were supposed to do. And that's what you got to be happy about, and just leave it there.
Kyle Madsen, Alan Stiles hanging out with you until 10 o'clock talking 49ers, Cardinals. Josh Dubow of the AP had this nugget. Check this out. Kyle Shanahan took until his 97th game, including the playoffs, to have a winning record for the first time. He's now 49-48 as a head coach, including the playoffs. So congrats to Kyle Shanahan. First time he's been over 500, including playoffs, in his career.
Wow.
He did get there faster than Hall of Famer Tom Landry.
Really?
Who didn't have a winning record until his 141st game, when they beat the New York Giants to improve to 70-69-2. Is Kyle Shanahan the next Tom Landry? Who's to say?
Who's to say? Who's to say? We got on the text line here, 510. If Jimmy keeps playing like this, do we keep him?
Okay, hang on. I don't want to go there yet.
We're going to have to.
No, we will. That is the 510 has a valid question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying not to go there right now.
Right.
Because then you get into arguments, and it's like, dude, my vibes are too good right now.
Right.
You're not going to bring me down with because then I got to get into, okay, but if he doesn't play well, and you got to get into all the negative hypotheticals, and you got to talk about Trey, and people start getting upset. I don't want that.
No.
The vibes are too good right now, man. The 49ers, look, the 49ers might win the Super Bowl, dude.
That could change everything.
But I don't care. If they have to make a weird quarterback decision because they have a freaking Super Bowl ring on their finger, fine.
Fine.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Go win it. Go. If they win, yes, great. That is a very good problem to have. I don't want to harp on it yet.
Mm-hmm. Because
it just, there's so many variables. There's not a benchmark that we're getting to where it's like, okay, if they win out and they go 13-4, they're definitely I don't know.
Mm-hmm. No, there is no line. I think the only line that I would have is you just have to see what they do in the playoffs. Assuming they get to the playoffs, you have to see what they do in the playoffs, and I can't necessarily. And I know that they had said if he keeps playing like this, I can't make any decisions or even have this conversation, because if he keeps playing like this, then you could say, well, if he keeps playing like this, they might win the Super Bowl, to be completely honest with you. So
seriously,
I don't think it's too early, but there's so many different things that can still happen. And until you literally have a situation where you say, all right, they lost first round, because of Jimmy, or they could lose first round and it's not because of Jimmy. There's too much to even get to that point. But I am ready to talk about Jimmy in terms of as far as how he's playing right now. And as far as when you look at the other QBs, he's a top 10 QB right now. And that's straight up. And I have never necessarily been a Jimmy guy. I thought the way people were already ready to get Trey out of here, I thought how people handle some of that stuff wasn't great. But you got to be honest with yourself. And if you look at how Jimmy Garoppolo is playing, I can't find 10 other quarterbacks that are playing better than Jimmy right now.
Man, 10 quarterbacks playing better than Jimmy. I don't think I can either.
There's not.
And the thing with Garoppolo, and I think tonight was a really good example, is there are a handful of quarterbacks, maybe less than a handful of quarterbacks, who it doesn't matter. You can put him back there, and he's going to make a play for you. With Garoppolo, and this is something not every quarterback does, and this is something he deserves credit for, he operates within the system. Right. And can you successfully operate within the system? Can you do it without turning the ball over? Can you accurately hit Deebo Samuel in stride so he can run after the catch and do what he's good at? Can you, on the occasional play that does break down, find Ray McLeod up the sideline for 30-plus yards or hit George Kittle for a 39-yard touchdown like he did tonight? Can you make a couple of plays here and there outside of structure that aren't within the offense to just kind of move the sticks? And he has. So when you talk about are there X amount of quarterbacks playing better than Garoppolo right now? What'd you say, 10?
10.
Are there 10? Probably not. When you factor in the weapons, the system, like within because it's a team sport, man. Like I know that we try and rank guys individually, but like that's fine. Do an individual list, but in the context and the scope of a football team, there aren't that many quarterbacks. I don't think there are 10 quarterbacks helping their team more than Jimmy Garoppolo has helped the 49ers the last 3 weeks.
No, and he's been put in some rough positions sometimes. I know they have a bunch of weapons, but when Kyle gets caught up in we're running the football thing, now it's 3rd and 8. Jimmy, can you bail us out? And he has. He has. And, even going forward, just talking about, the Saints game or whatever, I don't know if I'm by myself here, but it used to be that you knew the no throw was coming.
Yes.
And you would just, all right, well, there it is. And you go into the game thinking that. I don't currently think that Jimmy is going to have an no throw right now because he hasn't even necessarily flirted with it. Now, it could still come, and maybe I'm being a little bit prisoner of the moment, but based on how he's playing right now, I'm not going in thinking, just wait, it's coming.
Right.
Because I haven't seen it.
Right. It's been 3 weeks.
It's been 3 weeks.
Shout out to the people, because I know they exist, and shout out to you who are sitting there going, okay, but it's still coming. Just wait for it.
I mean, we don't know when.
He's eventually going to throw a pick.
Yeah.
I'm guaranteeing you at some point before the end of this year, he's going to throw another interception. And the people that are lying in wait are going to go, see, there it is.
There it is.
There it was. And maybe he regresses. Maybe. But what we have is tonight and the 2 weeks before, he's been very good. Threw 4 touchdown passes tonight.
It's insane.
I want to talk about him real quick. The Brandon Ayuk touchdown, the first one, that little whip route he runs, I called it a dream shake. He's open on it every time.
Yeah.
Run that. Dude, why does he run any other route? Run it every time. He gets separation. You ever ran it against the he ran it against the Falcons for a touchdown. He ran it against the Chiefs, and he was open and didn't get the ball thrown to him. He might have been the Chiefs. I remember. Ran it tonight and got a touchdown. His second touchdown was nice. There was the George Kittle, the 39-yarder on the broken play where the 3rd and 3 where he pulled up at the line of scrimmage and threw it. Like
that was nasty.
Nice. Nice.
That's the Jimmy. It gives me very much 2019 vibes of everything. Just his feel for everything right now just seems really good. Like you said, how long will it last? I don't know, but he just looks so comfortable. That's why he makes me feel comfortable when I watch him. They always say that when you look at different sports, the guys that are really good or the guys that are great, they make things look easy.
Right.
When Jimmy's not rolling right, it doesn't look easy. It doesn't look it should make it like, and I know Mahomes is Mahomes, but Mahomes makes you feel like, man, maybe I could have been a quarterback, right? Jimmy hasn't done that until recently.
It feels like, when you have a sore throat and your throat like really hurts, and you have to swallow and it's like, that hurts. That's what it's like watching Jimmy play.
When he's not rolling. Yes, when he's not rolling.
Not right now. But when that's what I like in it.
Yes. And it's, I got to get a throat lozenge or whatever the case is. Maybe that's McCaffrey. That's Christian McCaffrey. Because
Christian McCough drop.
There you go. Save it. We need it forever.
All right, I'm counting it.
And everything that Jimmy's doing right now, it just seems like...
so loud.
And people have said, well, Kyle is trusting Jimmy more. How do you feel about that? The whole Kyle is trusting Jimmy more.
I said that today, and I think that's right.
Yeah.
Especially the clearest sign of it to me was that they were still throwing up in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
Not throwing up in the second half. They were throwing well ahead in the second half.
Yes.
And that's just something we've not really seen. And it wasn't like, okay, screen pass here. It was like, hey, designed play action rollout and gonna hit Kittle. Easy throw, like layup throw for sure, but not a, hey, just straight drop, slant to Debo. Hey, slant to Ayuk. Hey, just throw one up for Ray McLeod and see what happens. It wasn't
right.
It was like, oh, hey, this is a fun, well-designed, creative offense. And that's all I wanted out of the Chargers game. Mm-hmm. And that was the big concern out of it. It was like, man, they got all these weapons, and that just looked so unimaginative. That looked like a preseason offense.
Right.
Just so very just bland and vanilla. Monday night was not bland and vanilla.
No.
It was electric, and it was fun, and the ball was moving around, and it was every playmaker had their hand in it in some way, and you can't walk away from this game going, God, they got to get Kittle involved. Oh, they got to get Debo involved. Oh, why didn't they do this? Why didn't this? Like, man, they just did it.
They did.
I don't know what to say.
Right. It's very interesting because, like, I'm looking at you right now, and you're thinking, all right, got these notes. I gotta write my stuff up, and it looks like you had to think real deep in terms of what to write, because normally there are a couple negatives that you can pick on.
Right. Well, and this team was 3-4, and they lost to the Bears, and they lost to the Broncos, and they were playing worse football than the Seahawks. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, are there 10 quarterbacks better than Jimmy Garoppolo right now? Playing better than Jimmy Garoppolo right now? Are there 2 teams better in the NFC? Can they win the Super Bowl? Like, the shift has just been so dramatic, but it's warranted. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to not be biased. Mm-hmm. But I'm having a hard time looking and going, it is just the Cardinals. Like, I'll give that. But everything that came out of the Chargers game, that it was like, they won, great. They did that. But I need to see A, B, C, D, and E before I'm going to put this team in this. And then they just did A, B, C, D, and E tonight.
Yes.
On a trip to Mexico City, their longest road trip left this season, against a division opponent that had been a thorn in their side, against a quarterback who kicked their ass last year. That was as good of a win as they've had in the Kyle Shanahan era.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And now what you have to do is figure out where your expectations now are going to be. Because,
sky high.
Well, that's what it sounds like. Because, you have your little homestand here. You go Saints, Dolphins, Bucks. And now we've seen this side of the Niners. You might not see this Niner team again. Mm-hmm. Hopefully you do. You cannot, and this goes back to what they did at the beginning of the season and those losses you're talking about. You cannot have you cannot lose to the Saints. You can't do it. You cannot do it.
You get a couple of bad losses a year.
Yes.
And they got them out. They're done.
They're done.
You don't get any more bad losses. Mm-hmm. Not if you want to be a serious Super Bowl contender.
No.
As of right now, after week 11, I think they are. That's where my expectation is. If they're not competing, if they're not in the playoffs and making a run, I think this year is going to be pretty disappointing. If you agree, 888-957-9570. Even if you disagree, that's the Xfinity mobile text line. That's the phone line. I'm Kyle Madsen. He's Alan Stiles. We're taking your calls until 10 o'clock on Overtime on 95.7 The Game.
New Gillette Intimate gives guys a gentle and easy shave on there. And around there. And even under there. Don't treat your groin like junk. Respect it with Gillette Intimate, the best a man can get. Buy now at Walmart.
Don't miss the Jim Irsay Collection, coming to San Francisco on Saturday, December 10th. Jim Irsay, owner and CEO of the Indianapolis Colts, will exhibit historic sports memorabilia, presidential artifacts, the world's greatest guitar collection, and more. The evening will be topped off with a free concert by the all-star Jim Irsay Band, featuring special guests Ann Wilson, Buddy Guy, and John Fogerty. It's one night only with the Jim Irsay Collection and the Jim Irsay Band on December 10th at the Bill Graham Auditorium from 7 to 10 p.m. Get your free ticket now at JimIrsayCollection.com.
We're on a journey to make healthcare more accessible and more equitable, to treat the most complex diseases and offer hope where often there is little, to provide better care to more people across the Bay Area. We are more than a hospital, more than a university, beyond science and technology. We are the people of UCSF. UCSF Health. Redefining possible.
He's the best interview in the Bay Area.
Splish Splash. Coach, are you taking a bath?
Did you hear a little water in the background?
Yeah!
He's a 9-time NBA champion.
Not 5, not 6, not 7.
And he's on with Damon and Ratto every single week during the NBA season.
Wow.
It's Warriors head coach Steve Kerr on 95.7 The Game. Presented by Xfinity. Supercharge your home with supersonic Wi-Fi. Unbeatable internet only from Xfinity.
Life is uncertain. It's okay to feel stressed, anxious, worried, or frustrated. CalHope can help. Access CalHope's free and secure mental health resources. Call 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge.
But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99.
You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
With Black Friday savings at the Home Depot, you'll find top brand kitchen appliances with innovative features that can do more, so your holidays can be more. Ovens with built-in air fryers for baking the perfect cookies. Dishwashers with smart tech to clean everything from bakeware to festive mugs. And high-capacity refrigerators to keep leftovers fresh. Shop Black Friday savings and get up to 30% off, plus instantly save up to $750 on select GE kitchen packages at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Offer valid November 2nd through November 30th. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com/sports, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com/sports. That's getrefunds.com/sports.
Universal Studios Hollywood is where the holidays come together. We've tested it. Festive food with refreshing Coca-Cola. Family, friends, and fa-la-la. Dazzling lights cranked up to maximum merriment. The Grinch and his dog Max stealing your tree. All the science adds up. It's the awesomest celebration of the season. Save $20 on a Coca-Cola 2-day general admission ticket. Offer ends 12/14/22. Restrictions apply. Details at universalstudioshollywood.com/Coke offer.
Big O Tires Black Friday sale is here. Get great savings on auto care services and buy 3 tires, get 1 free on select in-stock Mesa tires with installation purchase. Visit BigOTires.com for other Black Friday saving offers through December 4th. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Fremont Bank. If there's one thing we understand more than anybody, it's that it takes a local bank to really get the needs of local businesses. Fremont Bank has the flexibility and motivation to service your business loan needs like other banks can't or won't. With our full suite of business loan products and recognition as a top SBA lender in the Bay Area, Fremont Bank is the right choice for local and family-owned businesses. Fremont Bank. Learn more at fremontbank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Samuel gets it. Trent Williams out in front of him. Ayuk blocking. Debo. End zone touchdown. What a play. No flags. Another one for San Francisco.
Now, back to overtime with Kyle Madsen and Alan Stiles on 95.7 The Game.
I think Joe Buck likes calling Debo Samuel touchdowns the same way Mike Breen likes calling Steph Curry threes.
Just a different energy.
Just the vibe I get. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Joe Buck gets really amped for Debo Samuel.
He likes the name.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I think he comes off the hand well. So we've been talking about this. It's been the kind of the tenor of the show. The 49ers beat the Cardinals 38-10. Mm-hmm. I'm putting the 49ers now. And maybe you were there already. Maybe you're not there yet. I would love to hear from you at 888-957-9570. You can call in. That's also the Xfinity mobile text line. We're also on YouTube and Twitch, youtube.com/957thegame, twitch.tv/957thegame. I'm putting the 49ers in the Super Bowl contender category. Whoever else you have there is up to you. I'm putting the 49ers there.
I would say I am too. I think but they were there from the beginning of the year though.
You've had them there.
Well, I'm saying when you looked at the beginning of this season, right? That was the whole thing with Trey Lance. This is a Super Bowl roster, but Trey Lance needs reps. So technically they were supposed to be there. Then they go out, you lose to the Bears. They lose some games that they weren't supposed to. So we, the collective we, some of us wavered a bit. Then you also see how the NFC is so weak this year. I feel like they have to be there. But to be fair, today is a day where you feel the most confident about it. I think before it was, well, they have to be there because this roster is really good and they got Jimmy and this, that, the third. You after a game like today, you say, all right, we kind of already had them there, but they played like it today. That's the difference.
Yeah, and I think so that's interesting because I knocked them down a peg after. Well, the Broncos game was when I was like, oof, maybe they're not quite there. But then, they kind of right the ship and they beat the Rams and they look better against Carolina. They had the bad game against the Falcons, but they were so beat up and no Nick Bosa.
Right.
It was the Chiefs game that I removed them from the Super Bowl contender. They're still in the mid, okay, I reserved the right to put them back up there. But I was like, man, the Chiefs are a Super Bowl team. The Niners could not, I know they were within 5 in the fourth quarter, but it never felt like, man, hey, they're just as good. It just never felt that way. But then they come back the next week and they beat the Rams. They go into the bye. They beat and over these last few weeks, they've been building up to blowing out the Cardinals. And now I'm putting them back up there.
Right.
Not only did they score 38, but it wasn't a weird 38.
No.
They got a couple of short fields, thanks to turnovers, and the Cardinals going for it, but then they went and capitalized, which is something we've not seen them do, and one of the reasons I didn't have them in that conversation. Man, they're not, those explosive plays aren't there, and they're not scoring in the red zone. Well, today they got explosive plays, and they were 2 for 2 in the red zone. There it is. Their defense pitched a second half shutout. Again, third week in a row.
And they put it on them. We have not seen them put it on a team like that before. And that's exactly what they did. And going back to the whole landscape of everything else, now we're seeing other teams other teams fall off, right? I think the Rams officially cooked. The Cardinals officially cooked. Shout out KFC. They're done. The Packers.
KFC?
KFC, I don't know. They're birds, all right? I know they're chickens, but same idea. Packers.
Kentucky Fried Cardinals. I got
Kentucky Fried Cardinals. Packers are cooked. I think they're done. They had an opportunity, but we don't know about the Bucs yet. But in terms of serious contenders, I mean, you're not ever going to count out Tom Brady, but the Bucs are still a little bit borderline. The Cowboys are trying to creep in, but Vikings feel a bit fraudulent to me just because, I'm sorry, Kirk Cousins, I will stop feeling, you know what it reminds me of, and sorry if there's anybody out there that likes this team, but it's like Gonzaga to me. Like, I don't pick Gonzaga in March Madness. I'm not going to. And if one day they burn me,
so perfect.
If one day they burn me, fine. But they haven't burned me yet.
Sure.
So Vikings, Kirk Cousins, I'm sorry, you're just Gonzaga to me. You got to do it, man. You got to do it, and you haven't.
Yeah.
And now you have the Eagles, who we know even less about than Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
So this is lining up pretty perfectly for the Niners if they don't fumble the bag.
Yeah, it feels like the path is there for them for sure. John in Daly City. Let's get John in here. 888-957-9570 if you want to join the conversation. John, what do you got?
Oh, yeah. Thanks, guys. I haven't heard this much 49er enthusiasm since we traded for Christian McCaffrey.
It feels weird.
That was just a couple of weeks ago, and now here we are seeing the X's and O's come into play. Mm-hmm. So, when you go into the store and you're trying on a new outfit and you're like, this is a good fit. I think that, that describes what happened with McCaffrey. So we're built to beat the best. That's the whole point, is to beat KC, to beat Kansas City. We just have to execute, but we ball control and defense. And if we do that, we'll beat Kansas City. That's all I got.
Very good. Thanks, Sean. And I think that's I think that's probably right.
Mm-hmm.
If they're gonna if they're gonna get this game, if you get this type of offensive game against Kansas City, I definitely think they can hang with anybody. The next step now, as we talk about checking boxes, is like, okay, now I've seen that it's there. You mentioned a couple weeks ago, you were like, ceiling's great, but let's see it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care how high the ceiling is if you're not close to reaching it.
Right.
And that was a great point. Tonight we saw them reach it. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, thank you. That's the box. Now, how consistently can you do it?
That's the question. And I know we keep talking about the Chiefs, and we don't, obviously we're more concerned with the NFC than the AFC, but even we don't know the Bills. We're supposed to be, how can we hang with the Bills? The Bills are showing some cracks in the armor. Right, it's really just the Chiefs and everybody else. Is that whether it's AFC or NFC? Is it just Chiefs and everybody else? I don't know. I feel like maybe people are, I don't want to say disrespecting, but not thinking about the Ravens as much. Lamar Jackson's a guy who we would like to see do some more in the playoffs. Looking at the Niners' schedule going forward, you can't have the trap games, but really, not to be disrespectful to any of the other teams, we don't even know if the Bucs, what type of test that's going to be, because the Bucs have been kind of all over the place. This Dolphins game might be one of the last chances we see the Niners to really be tested. Now, the tough thing about that is that all you see on the schedule besides the Dolphins game, to me, are trap games. That's what it seems like to me. Not the Seahawks, because the Seahawks are good.
And it's a Thursday night in Seattle.
So you have the Dolphins, you have the Seahawks. I guess we'll still put the Bucs there. But then you got 4 other games too. And I see you on the YouTube text as well as the Xfinity mobile text line. Look, you get this far, and I get it. A win is a win. But you are going to have since you're not going to be tested in that way when you're playing. I mean, you got to play the Cardinals again. Who knows what they're going to be doing at that point? That's the last game of the season. The Commanders, I don't know. Again,
I'm not a believer.
No, but that
probably makes me a bad football fan.
But that's a game to me, to where some of these games are there. You're not going to score 38 a game. But out of these 4 other games, I'm looking at, I would like to see one more blowout. Because if your
Yeah,
only blowout
definitely.
since acquiring McCaffrey, sure, we'll count the Saints, but it's always against the Saints. Before you had McCaffrey, it was still with the Saints. And the Colt McCoy-led Cardinals in what felt like almost a pseudo home game because of how well the Niners travel, and Niners are just really big out in Mexico. If that's the only blowout game you have, all right. Right, and I know everybody just says it doesn't matter. We won.
Mm-hmm.
To me, you do have to you have to show that you are much better than teams sometimes.
So let me. I agree, but I want to change a word.
Mm-hmm.
I want to remove the word blowout,
Okay,
and I think just control,
right.
because blowing teams out in the NFL is really hard.
Okay,
But can you control a game? Win by maybe you end up winning by 10, but it's like you were up 17 and they scored late.
right. You're never worried.
Right. Can they do that against the Saints? Maybe you beat the Saints by 10, but they shouldn't worry against the Saints. They should beat the Saints and beat the Saints soundly. That's what I'm more looking for than another 38-10 blowout, because that's hard to do.
Right.
Like just to any NFL team. But if they're doing that and they do it again, then now it's like, oh man, maybe they are in that kind of buzzsaw category. But again, we got to see that. I'm not going to put them there until we see it multiple times. The 619 brings up a great point. Tampa Bay might be the scariest team when you talk about a team getting rolling. Tampa Bay might be is the team that, while we're talking about the Vikings and the Cowboys, Tampa Bay is right there. And Tampa Bay is scary as well.
They are. I'm trying to look at who they have. So before they play the Niners, I feel like I don't even know. Do the Bucs ever play good teams? Why does it feel like Tom Brady just always has a layup every week, man? They have the Browns next week. And then they have the Saints, and then they have the Niners.
Don't they have the Browns with Deshaun Watson? Is that not a thing?
That sounds right.
I thought that was a thing.
He's definitely returning soon. So maybe that won't be as much of a game. And by the way, just a quick sidebar. The rust factor, I mean, what do we expect Deshaun Watson to be?
I have no idea. I have absolutely zero clue.
Yeah. Interesting. So they get the Browns, then they get the Saints before the Niners. What if they win the games? Well, okay, well, they're rolling. If they don't, they're done. They lose one of those games, they're done.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. But it also feels like, man, they are. It's Tom Brady. It's the freaking go. Sorry, hang on a minute. It's Tom Brady. It's one of the two best quarterbacks of all time. I think he's the GOAT. If you disagree with me, that's okay. I understand. If he starts rolling, that's where it's like, Tampa's a team. I think Tampa, by come playoff time, is going to be nobody wants to see Tampa. Yeah, they're the 7 seed, but nobody wants to see them.
Right.
And I would definitely buy
like what
that.
the Niners were last year a little bit.
Yeah. Yes, exactly like that. All right, two things I want to get to. I got about 15 minutes left. Two things I want to get to. Cole in San Francisco, I see you, but real quick, 907 on the Xfinity mobile text line. How unselfish are the 49ers, and how important is it to have all these superstars blocking downfield? That right there is why I've always bought into Kyle Shanahan. Play calling, sketchy at times, for sure. Fourth down decision-making, red zone decision-making, little strange sometimes, for sure. Clock management decisions, downright abhorrent at times. I'm all there. But the fact that he can get guys like Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle, I think George Kittle would be this way anywhere, but getting guys to buy in like that and getting a player like Ayuk, who is obviously so talented as a pass catcher, to also say, you know what, I'm going to be one of the best blocking wide receivers in the league too. And to go do that, and to get Christian McCaffrey doing the dirty work, and getting Elijah Mitchell to sit basically the entire first half and then come in the second half and roll the way he did. He had 58 yards on 9 carries. I think it was at 59 yards on 9 carries after getting 1 carry in the first half. Like, getting that kind of buy-in from these guys, getting to 3-4 and not losing the locker room, having the Trey Jimmy thing, navigating that last year and this year, having Trey go down and bringing Jimmy back in and navigating that. That's why I've been in on Kyle Shanahan as a head coach, because he manages those situations and gets these superstar players to the 907's point to buy into the offense, whether they have the ball or they don't.
Right.
That's hard to do.
No, it is hard to do. I also think that it's part of yes, I'm going to use the word culture. I think it's part of the culture. I think that from the draft on, Kyle knows what he likes, and he is not necessarily, and that's why, and I hate to, because I know he's a hard worker, but do we know that OBJ would want to do this stuff at this point in his career?
So, no, we don't. No, we don't. Especially coming off a knee injury.
Right.
What's he going to look at? If they signed Odell Beckham, I don't think they're going to, but if they did, it'd be fine. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to sit here and pound the table for it.
Well,
that's where I'm at.
Well, and I don't think anybody is going to after a night like tonight. I think that he could still be interested. And again, you can go on to say, hey, we get him at a good price. That also means another team doesn't get him. Mm-hmm. But I feel like the reason people were more on the OBJ train of why wouldn't we get him? Why wouldn't we do this? Which I understand if the dollars make sense and all that good stuff. But we hadn't seen this from the Niners either. We hadn't seen just a shellacking.
Exactly.
Right? To make you feel like, I don't really think we need OBJ.
Right.
Yeah, now you might still want him or might think he can help, but I don't think there's anybody after this game thinking, that would just put us over the top, man. You already have enough, to your point, you already have enough to manage. Do you really want to throw OBJ in that mix too?
Right. They put the ball in the air 29 times. There's not that many times that they're going to put the ball in the air more often than that.
Right.
Let's get to Cole in San Francisco. He wants to talk about the 49ers' upcoming schedule. Cole, you're on with Adam and Kyle. Alan. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Alan and Kyle on 95.7 The Game. What's up?
That's Alan Mita. What's up, Alan? I love you, baby. How you doing, the crafty lefty from Embarcadero Y? It's Cole here. I just wanted to say, hey, look, the Niners played great tonight. Look what happens when you get the ball to George Kittle. Oh my goodness, he scores touchdowns. What a crazy conundrum. Anyways, I just want to say, because coming up they got the Saints, they should dismantle and own Andy Dalton. Like, they should dominate the Saints. Then you got Miami. That's going to be a hell of a game. Mike McDaniel's coming back against, it's like, some Star Wars, like Anakin versus Obi-Wan type of stuff there with McDaniels versus Shanahan. And then the GOAT comes to the Bay also. So they got some big games coming up. The Niners have a Super Bowl defense. I think that they just need to continue to spread the ball around on offense, continue to get the ball to the playmakers. Ayuk is absolutely balling. Get Debo the ball and don't overuse McCaffrey, and they're going to be solid. That's all I got to say. Alan, I love you, baby. Congratulations on the baby boy.
Man, that's neat.
Thanks, Cole.
He's got fans.
Shout out YMCA, baby.
I will let you respond, Alan Mita.
Yeah, well, great call, by the way, as I already said. Shout out Cole and the YMCA. Yeah, well, I think the thing is, they really did get everybody rolling today. And I think the Debo thing, I don't know what to be most excited about. Personally, Kittle was a guy who I've fought with Niner fans back and forth all this time about Kittle versus Travis Kelce, and if Kittle had Mahomes and this, that, and the third. And then the arguments kind of just got quieter because Kittle wasn't being utilized the same way. So I think Kittle is the guy who, he's really been the one that has, when you talk about, are there enough, balls and passing to go around, Kittle's been the guy who everybody get him the ball. Kyle Shanahan, and I feel like he's been doing it a lot more lately with these shorter passes to Kittle and almost going in the Debo type of direction, like the misdirection that you talked about a bit earlier, and it ended up going for a touchdown. So I think that getting Kittle back in the mix, and I think Kyle Shanahan might have had some problems trying to figure that out. And then you add Christian McCaffrey, you're thinking, man, this is going to be even harder. But I think he's found a little niche for Kittle in these shorter throws and letting Kittle do the work like Debo versus a Travis Kelce. Kittle's going to run a full-blown route. I think that just wasn't working for the Niners. And how they're using Kittle now, I think it's kind of turning back the clock a little bit. I feel like we haven't been able to talk about Kittle offensively in the last couple seasons, to be completely honest with you.
And I think something we're going to have to kind of get used to that point is with the way this offense is built, I think there's just going to be one or two players a game who just doesn't shine.
Right.
Like, that's just how it's going to go.
Yeah.
And, whether that works out or not, I'm sure it's going to be debated week in and week out. But I don't think there's ever going to be a prolonged stretch where it's like, dude, George Kittle has 4 targets in the last 6 games. I just don't think that's going to be a thing. Are there going to be nights where Brandon Ayuk gets 4 targets? Yes. Like that's just that's going to happen.
Right.
Like there's only so many touches to go around. So I think that's going to be kind of what this offense is. We've barely talked about their defense tonight. They pitched a shutout in the second half.
Donut.
For the 3rd consecutive game. And I think part of the problem is they just dominated. They did what they do. The offense looked different. The defense did kind of it's insane. They were giving up, you can't really do this, but if you take away the Falcons game where they didn't have Nick Bosa, their entire starting defensive line, basically, and then the Chiefs game where they got, mollywhopped there at the end, they're giving up less than 13 points a game. That's
crazy.
Really hard to do in the NFL, regardless of what your schedule is. So that's why I was thinking, like, oh man, we got to hit the defense, but then it's like, I don't know what to say. They're stellar. Kevin Givens had a huge game tonight. Shout out to Kevin Givens.
Yeah.
Had a really nice game.
Yeah.
Givens.
And is it time to now have the conversation? I know everybody really early on, D'Amico Ryans, he's going to be gone. Cooled off a little bit as the Niners, even though the Niners never necessarily played bad, but it's safe to say he's gone, right?
Yes. Even when their defense struggled this couple weeks. He's yes. D'Amico Ryans is going to be a head coach somewhere next year. There are too many teams in need of a good coach. And I think especially now that you see Robert Saleh having some success with the Jets, despite Zach Wilson being a mess, I think that you're gonna kind of see that D'Amico Ryans is still very much the number one candidate on the head coaching market. But Javarius Ward, 10 tackles. Nick Bosa had another sack. He has 10.5 this year. Fred Warner had a sack tonight. Dre Greenlaw had a pass breakup and a forced fumble. Sammy Womack, couple of pass breakups and his first career interception. Shout out to Sammy Womack, 5th round pick. And they're just good, dude. I've got nothing. Got a couple minutes. Who's your player of the game?
Player of the game, like I said, didn't know what he's going to do when they highlight these guys, but the Kittle comeback, as I'm calling it, very excited for George Kittle. He's beloved out there in Mexico, and he did not disappoint for the fans out there.
It felt like Kyle Shanahan went, hey, George, fans out here in Mexico love you. We're going to get you involved.
Yes.
I know that's not what he did.
Right.
He's not playing to the fans, but that's sure what it felt like. I have given Jimmy Garoppolo more grief over the years. I have been right at the front of he's got to go. I don't care what you're doing behind Trey Lance, but it can't be Jimmy. He's done. He stinks. They'll never win a Super Bowl with him. If he's going to play like this, they absolutely can. And I will be the first to admit that I was wrong. And on Monday night, he was excellent. And did he make a bunch of crazy no-look passes, sidearm throw? No. But that's not his game.
No.
He played the perfect Jimmy Garoppolo-style game. No throws, no bad interceptions, operated the offense, and threw 4 freaking touchdowns for the first time since Halloween of 2019. More than 3 years ago.
2019 vibes. They're back.
It feels that way.
They're back.
Somebody asked if this team would beat the 2019 team. We don't have another hour.
Yeah.
It's a great question, though, that I will be bringing to the morning roast tomorrow. I'm going to ask Bonte and Shasky that, and I'm sure they'll get into it a little bit. That's tomorrow. Also tomorrow, make sure to get out to Mad Dog in the Fog, 7 a.m. Dan Dibley's going to be out there for the World Cup match. It's Mexico against Poland. Dibs is going to be out there drinking some Estrella, hanging out before the show.
All right.
He's going to be there, and then he's going to bop over and do a show with Whitey Gleason from 9 to noon. So you're going to want to meet up with Dibs down there, and then make sure to listen to that show because Dibs is going to be half in the bag.
Yeah.
Let's keep it a buck. Any final thoughts?
If this is who they are, will the real Niners please stand up? Might have some action.
They might have action. I think they've got action.
Yeah.
They got action.
They got action.
I'm ready to say it. 49ers 38, Cardinals 10. He's Alan Stiles. I'm Kyle Madsen. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you to everybody on the Xfinity Mobile text line, Twitch, YouTube. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate you. Alan, great as always. Sterling, you're the man. Thanks for sticking around. We will see you guys next time. Morning Roast with Bonte and Shasky starts at 6 a.m. See you then.
Do you have neuropathy? Are you experiencing numbness, tingling, and pain that just won't stop? Are you taking dangerous drugs that have serious side effects and never fix the pain? If so,